His body was failing, his hands trembled, but he still sat at that piano determined. And in that fragile moment, he transformed an old prison ballad into the last miracle of his life. Most people have never heard this truth. Elvis Presley's final masterpiece came from a song the world had already forgotten.
From an album called Unchained Melody. Makes a lot of sense.
A song written for a 1950s prison film would become the stage for the final heartbeat of Elvis Presley's career. In 1954, composer Alex North was hired to create the music for a prison film called Unchained. He was told the movie needed a song that captured its emotional core. So he turned to the lyricist Hy Zarrett. It began with a refusal. Zarrett turned the offer down at first. But once he accepted, he and North crafted a melody that would outlive both the film and its era. And here's the twist. Zarrett refused to use the word unchained at all. Instead, he wrote about something deeper, a longing so universal that it didn't need a movie title to anchor it. A long, lonely time. A simple feeling, yet powerful enough to echo across decades. The song exploded in its first decade, covered by Al Hibbler, Les Baxter, and the Righteous Brothers. But by the mid-70s, the spark had dimmed. Until the King stepped in. For Elvis, nearing the end of his life, this wasn't just a song. It was a bridge between nostalgia, reflection, and the truth he could no longer hide. And that brings us to the moment everything changed.
I gotta do this first. This is a song that I just recorded, and it's an old song called Unchained Melody.
Even though the king of rock and roll was fading, his voice still carried the power to stop hearts. By 1977, Elvis was visibly exhausted, overweight, and was obviously battling health issues from years of touring and substance abuse. But he refused to stop performing. During his June 21st Rapid City concert, he walked to a piano slowly and chose Unchained Melody. He didn't choose it because it was popular. He chose it because it meant something. The lyrics of longing and loss hit differently when sung by a man staring at his own mortality. Elvis's delivery was raw and intimate. As he played, his hands shook, his body trembled.
From an album called Unchained Melody. Makes a lot of sense. Okay.
But his voice rose higher than the pain. It conveyed heartbreak and regret. Critics and fans considered it one of the most emotionally powerful performances of his career. He transformed Unchained Melody from a classic standard into a personal farewell. A final love letter to the world. Sometimes the greatest performances emerge when the performer is at their weakest. And that performance echoed far beyond the stage. But with every new fan came a new critic. Elvis's story didn't start with tragedy, it started with a spark. Let's rewind. Who would have thought that a poor boy born in Tupelo would grow up to shake the world? Elvis was born on January 8, 1935 in a tiny Mississippi home, but nothing about his future would stay small for long. Elvis came from almost nothing. His family struggled every day, and the tragedy of his stillborn twin lingered over his childhood. But then one simple gift changed everything. A simple guitar from his mother. No one knew it then, but that guitar planted the seed of a legend. Music wrapped itself around him early. Gospel in church, blues drifting from the radio, R&B pouring out of street corners. The South shaped his soul note by note. Not only that, but as a kid, it was clear that there was something different about him. A spark you couldn't ignore. By high school, he was stepping onto talent show stages. And when he graduated in 1953, he didn't follow the safe path everyone expected. He chased a dream instead, armed with nothing but a voice and a hunger to be more, and indeed, he got more. In 1954, Elvis walked into Sun Records in Memphis with a raw demo. The owner, producer Sam Phillips, had long searched for a white singer to sing with the depth and soul of black blues musicians. Elvis was that artist. That same year, he recorded his first single, That's All Right, a cover of a blues track, mixing country, blues, gospel, and something entirely new. The effect was electric. People called it rockabilly, but it was more than a label, it was a revolution. Over the next year, a string of regional hits, electrifying performances, and late-night shows caught fire. By the time he left Sun, he wasn't just a local act, he was a rising star, ready for the national stage.
Hey, hurry up! Pick him up, fellas. Everybody just stay cool. We're gonna keep it going.
This was the genesis of modern rock and roll, the fusion of black and white musical traditions filtered through the heart of a young Southerner who felt it all. Elvis didn't just find success, he reshaped popular music, laid the foundation for a global phenomenon, and opened doors for entire generations of artists. He became the prototype of the rebel star, raw, real, and nothing like the polished entertainers before him. By the late 1950s, he was a global phenomenon. His label, RCA, the Radio Corporation of America, even released Elvis's Golden Records, one of the first major greatest hits albums in rock music. His image, the hair, the hips, the voice, everything became iconic. Entire generations of fans and future musicians looked at him and realized music could be wild, tangible, and boundary-breaking. The rags to rock royalty origin was real, and it gave Elvis authenticity, a bridge between ordinary roots and global legend. But right at the peak of fame, life threw a curveball, one that would test his identity, discipline, and heart. In 1958, Elvis was drafted into the U.S. Army, a moment that could have ended any career. However, instead of abandoning his music, he made it his voice, an action that earned him many awards.
It's sort of intimate, you know?
This is a little bigger than the auditorium.
Every bit of applause grew louder, but so did the exhaustion he tried so hard to mask. And while the world saw a legend rising, Elvis saw himself quietly slipping into a battle no stage could hide, because behind the spotlight came the struggle. At first, no one noticed it. The king still walked on stage with the same swagger, the same electric presence, the same smile that made crowds rise to their feet.
That's the king right there.
You got a minute before they call you?
A couple, yeah.
But behind closed doors, he was breaking. It started with exhaustion. Real exhaustion. Not the kind a good night's sleep could fix. His schedule was brutal, from shows to rehearsals, travel, interviews, and constant pressure to stay perfect. The world didn't see the toll it took. On the contrary, they only saw the living legend.
It's good to see you.
Yeah.
You dropped off the radar for a decade, man. People wondered if we'd ever hear you sing again.
Yeah, I wondered that myself for a while. I had to step out of the glare and
10 years sober now?
Then came the pains. Sharp aches, sudden fatigue, weight fluctuations he couldn't explain. His body was begging him to stop. But fame demanded silence, so he pushed through, night after night. To cope, Elvis turned to prescription pills for sleep, then for energy, then to numb everything in between. At the time, those around him believed they were helping, but the pills quietly took control. Stress grew, his diet slipped. His body, once powerful and commanding, weakened under the pressure of being Elvis Presley. But he didn't give up. If he was going down, he was determined to go down performing. A song born in a prison film, once forgotten, became a king's final masterpiece, proving that sometimes beauty shines brightest at the edge of life. By performing this once-forgotten ballad, Elvis set the stage for what would be recognized as his final great artistic moment. The contrast was striking, a giant singing a small, intimate song, and that contrast made it unforgettable. Decades after his death, his music still sells. His influence echoes in artists across genres and generations. His home, Graceland, remains a pilgrimage site. His legacy refuses to fade. Sometimes beauty shines brightest at the very brink of disaster. And Elvis proved that in one final fragile performance. Which line from the song hit you the hardest? While you're still here, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Until next time, thanks for watching.